Hi, welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know me, my name is Katharine, and today in today's vlog, I'm going to be going book shopping. I'm at one of my favorite bookstores in my area, in the north of Boston area. It's called Jabberwocky Books. It's in Newburyport, Massachusetts, and it's very similar of a town to my hometown in Rockport, Massachusetts. It's like very small town, very New England, right on the water. I probably will show you a little bit around Newburyport after I'm done book shopping at Jabberwocky Books because it's just so pretty here, and probably will grab some lunch while I'm here. So let's head into Jabberwocky Books and see what they have. I have a few books in mind that I want to get, but I can't make any promises if I'll find any of them. I do want to get at least one book today. I don't know what it will be, but we'll see. I did just do like a big unhaul of a lot of my books that I didn't plan on rereading or reading anytime in the future. So my bookshelves are looking a little bit sad. So I definitely want to buy at least something here so that my bookshelf is a little bit more full. But let's head in. So I don't know what it is, but I always come into bookstores and libraries without a plan of like what I want to buy. Like I know I want to take out something or buy something from a library or a bookstore, but then when I get in here I just like freeze and I forget like all the books that I want to read and that aren't on my physical TBR and I want to have on my physical TBR. That happened to me at the Boston Public Library a few weeks ago when I went there. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go in there, find something that I know that I want to read. I have a lot of books that aren't on my physical TBR that I probably want to check out of this library. And then as soon as I got in there, it almost like was like I had a blonde moment. I just forgot all the books that I wanted to read. So even though I have a lot of books saved on Goodreads, you should follow me on Goodreads, by the way, or add me as a friend. I'll tag my Goodreads account down below. But as soon as I went into the Boston Public Library, like my mind just like blanked. I tried to check Goodreads for the books that are on my TBR but aren't physically on my TBR yet, and it just got really overwhelming. I think it's also because Boston Public Library is like super big, and that within itself is overwhelming. So even when I like was walking up and down the aisles trying to find a book that was on my TBR or to be read, I just was so overstimulated and like overwhelmed. That's how I get in a lot of places, like even in malls and things of that nature. Like if it's a really crowded place, like ever since I was a kid I would get like super overstimulated and it would give me anxiety. But I'm gonna check Goodreads now. I probably should have checked Goodreads like before I came in here. But let me see what's on my Goodreads. Like I have a pretty good idea of like what I want to read and what's on my TBR or to be read list, but I just want to like see what's on there just to confirm I know what I'm thinking about. So what I'm gonna try to avoid today is summary type books because at the time of filming this it is September, so I want to try to find like fall and winter books. And when I think of like fall and winter, I think of like fantasy and like darker type books, like not demonic, okay, but like things that you would take place like in the fall or winter, or like that just have like more of a fall and winter vibe. So I'm gonna stay away from like summery type books and spring type books for right now. My plan is to buy at least one book, possibly even two, because I don't think I even mentioned this on here, but my brother is expecting a baby and they just found out that it's gonna be a boy, so possibly I can get my new nephew a book. He's due in February and it's September now, so it's gonna be a while before he is here in this world. Well, he's already here in this world, but like before he officially becomes a part of this world, like after my sister-in-law gives birth. So I probably want to get a book for him, maybe. The baby shower is in November and I want to have like something for them, but like knowing my brother, like, and if this is my brother's son and if my nephew is going to be anything like my brother, like he's not going to want to read. Maybe like I could get him like something that's more like of an interactive kids book where there's like noises and things. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but there's those books with like those sidebars where like the kids can like press different buttons for like different like animal sounds or things like that. So maybe I'll get one of those types of books. But who knows, like maybe I can get something that like flips open or like is like more 3D, something more interactive, because if this boy is anything like my brother, he's not going to want to sit down and read a book unless it like has some moving parts to it or like some sounds. So I'm going to maybe get a children's book and also like a book for myself. So we'll see. Because he's a very well-known and world-renowned, can I say that, fantasy author, and I don't want to go into one of his series because fantasy tends to have a lot of series, but this is one of his standalones, so I thought that would be a good starter for me because then it doesn't commit me to like a whole entire series. And if I want to try out one of his series, then I can if I like his writing style and I like his storylines. But yeah, I'm gonna see if I want to buy this book. I'm gonna carry it around and think about it. So I'm the type of person where like I like to walk around a store, not even just with books, but like with clothes, shoes, anything really. Like if I'm thinking about it by the time I want to leave, then I'm gonna buy it. Because if I don't absolutely want it or love it, I'm not gonna buy it. But yeah, I'm just gonna walk around the store a little bit more, see if there's anything else I would want, and if I don't find anything else that I want, I'm definitely gonna buy this. So it's so funny because I was getting really discouraged about finding a book here. I did pick up Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson because it was the only thing on my TBR in like the adult section, but I just came up to the young adult section and like apparently a lot of the books on my TBR are considered young adult, so I'm really happy to have come up here and double checked because like otherwise I would have really been bummed and probably just settled for Warbreaker, even though I had it on my TBR, but like the more I thought about it, like I wasn't really in the mood to buy it just yet. Not that I'm not ready for fantasy, because some of these books that I'm looking at in the young adult section is fantasy, but like high fantasy, like fantasy. I wasn't really ready for that type of a fantasy, if that makes sense. So I'm glad I came up here and found some of the young adult fantasy and like things like that, because I was kind of getting discouraged. I was like, am I really gonna have to buy like Warbreaker, which in all honesty, like I didn't have to buy it today. Like I was just trying to convince myself to buy it because it is on my TBR, and I wanted to buy something today, so I was like, might as well just buy Warbreaker, but like since I came up here and like found some books that I want, I might as well just buy one of these ones. Yes, I'm definitely getting these. 100% yes. So earlier on this year, I read the Selection series by Kierra, and I know it was a little bit immature. It's like about some like high school age people practically participating in like a bachelorette type competition. It's almost like a Hunger Games and the Bachelorette if they had a baby. That's exactly what the Selection series is about, and it's between like high school age kids. But essentially, I fell in love with that series. It's definitely a 5-star series for me. Although there were some like cringy parts of the books, like I honestly didn't care because like I just loved the setting, I loved the story. It was a really easy thing for me to grasp, like the world building and stuff. It wasn't too much to think about, and I think that's because it was young adult, and I really appreciated like the fantasy aspect of it, or like the alternate universe, like alternate reality dystopian type universe, like wasn't too hard to understand. So I really appreciated that, and that's why I love young adult so much. But yeah, I'm definitely getting these. This is like another series of hers. It's just a duology, so I'm gonna definitely get these because like I've been meaning to read another one of her books or a series by her because like the writing was just like so good, and I was hooked the moment I was reading the Selection. I read them like back to back to back. Also, it wasn't on my Goodreads TBR. I don't know why I didn't mark them as like want to be read, because like if anyone knows me, like I love like a good romance that's like set in like the 17 or 1800s. Like I love that age. Like I'm a very much of like a historical romance reader. Make fun of me if you want, but like that's what I like to read. And I want to get back into like reading like Christian fiction, because I feel like Christian fiction really has a lot of books in that area. And I also just like the meaning behind like Christian fiction books, because it always has like a good message behind it, and it always follows like the beliefs that I follow, and has a lot of great underlying messaging behind those books. But even though these aren't Christian, it's still something that I'm interested in because it's like 1800s type vibe, as you can tell by the covers. I don't even think I mentioned the name of these books. So the first one is called The Betrothed, and the next one is called The Betrayed, and it's a duology, like I said, by Kierra, and I can't wait to read these books because just by the covers I know I'm gonna like them, because like just look, they have crowns, they have gowns on, it just looks like a good time. So I'm definitely buying this, and I'm putting back Mistborn. But yeah, I'm gonna return this downstairs to the adult fantasy section. It's Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson, not Mistborn. Mistborn is one of his other series that I do want to read, but I want to read this one first because it's his standalone. But yeah, I'm just like not in a high fantasy mood right now, that I noticed. So I'm glad I picked up these two books because they're like more like lower grade, mid-grade, middle grade, middle-aged. I don't know. I don't know what the terminology is for it, but like it's more like dystopian or like middle grade type fantasy, and I'm really excited to get into this. So let me go ahead and buy these. I'm also gonna check out the kids section, which is like just around the corner, because like I'm in the young adult section right now, because I want to see if there's a book for my new upcoming nephew who's being born in a couple months. So let me see if I can find anything for him, and also return this book to the proper section. So I ended up getting, obviously, the two Kierra cast books that I mentioned before. It's the Betrothed and the Betrayal. It's duology, and I'm really excited to read that, especially after loving the Selection series. And then a little bit of a surprise for me, at least, is I got my brother's new baby that's expected in February. It's going to be a boy, and I don't want these books to fall. They're like flying all over the place. He is due in February, like I think I mentioned before, and if he's anything like my brother, like he's not going to want to read, but I'm hoping for the best. I was trying to look for one specific book in particular called The Little House by Virginia Lee Burton. I just like love her books, like any of her books, like the artistic style in them, like the illustrations are so pretty and vintage looking, and The Little House like was my favorite children's book of all time growing up. They didn't have it, unfortunately, but I did find the steam shovel one, which I feel like would be more fitting for a boy other than like a house, because like it just seems more boyish, this book. It's Mike Mulligan and His Steam Shovel by Virginia Lee Burton, and I am so excited to give this to him for his baby shower. I'm thrilled to give him a book that hopefully he'll love, but we'll see. As you can see, I'm now back in my car. That's it for today's adventure in Newburyport, buying some books from the bookstore and getting some lunch. I hope you enjoyed it, because I certainly enjoyed it. Please let me know if you know any other bookstores that are your favorites in the north of Boston area, or just New England in general. I would love to check them out. But do all the YouTube stuff that you know how to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!